Hiromichi Mizuno changed the culture of the government pension investment fund in Japan through his business model and an adaptation of ESG. This method of managing that he took changed the outlook of all the companies in Japan because it was innovative as well as successful. Over the last couple years in charge, Mizuno created a system that would incentivize his employees to work to their potential while also pushing towards an ideology that could help create long-term growth in their company and country. From these new ideas of ESG, 45% of other investments companies had added this ideology into their own business proposals because of how changing they were. This success only happened over 3 years, and now Mizuno faces the challenge of improving the previous successes that he had in the past and continuing to grow and develop. In this report, we will take a look at the systems that were put into place by Mizuno and find out how it became successful. There are a lot of risks and trials that were made by GPIF that may have been seen as wrong or unjust, but in the end of the day, he created a system that developed hardworking talent as well as results to back up this decision. After getting a better understanding of this system, we will show why this method is successful based on this push for long-term growth over short-term. We will then find some key issues that we have found with Mizuno that he should take into consideration for when he's taking the next steps and deciding his next couple years. In the end, we will give our recommendation to GPIF on what they should do with all the information that we have found from this case. The key facts that we must understand before diving into this issue that may arise from the system that was implemented is the importance of adding ESG and the manager system that was put into place. Mizuno wanted to find a way to gain more monetary value while also pushing towards a cause to help his country. The concept of ESG investing was one that could fit into both of these categories. On one hand, he talked about how everyone is somewhat involved in at least one category of ESG. Even if you're an activist for one part, you would not look down upon the others. On the other hand, there are core issues that are discussed on the day-to-day basis in Japan. A huge corporation like GPIF taking steps to fix these issues is important for others to follow suit. Mizuno created a system that tied how much a company was involved with ESG, and if they met a threshold, they would be invested in by the managers. When it comes to the managers, Mizuno also created another system in a way to balance the key tasks for this job while also trying to keep both sides motivated to perform to their best. He created two sides in which there are passive and active managers that both had responsibilities in making sure money was flowing properly, as well as finding the most competitive company that should be invested in. This system was created to be highly successful in the first 3 years, but we found some issues that may come up from this system. First, even though they have invested in these ESG-friendly companies, there are many other large companies that may not fit this criteria but could generate huge profits for the company. There are a lot of opportunities that will be lost if GPIF only invests in these that met the criteria. Their goal in doing this is for companies to switch their practices and fall into their criteria, but there are many large companies who cannot fit all these categories based on outside factors or monetary factors. For example, tobacco companies are completely excluded from any sort of investment from GPIF because of how their products have a negative effect on the environment. The second issue we found was how this manager system may cause improper practices and overworking. With this new manager system created by Mizuno, made an uncapped salary incentive to active managers based on how much success they have and what they do. This could lead to managers working 12 plus hour shifts to get as much money as possible. This could be potentially dangerous for their health of the employees, as well as add an unlimited amount of stress if things are not working in their favor. The mental health of their employees seem to be overlooked when making this decision. On the other side of it, cutting this limit could lead to managers taking improper practices like fraud or bargaining to have the most profits as possible. By creating this limit makes it look like these employees are trying to make as much money as possible in any type of way.
A conservative course of action that the GPIF could take is rewarding managers on returns performance, as well as ESG score performance of the companies invested in. This hybrid score would encourage competition and encourage smart investing. This allows managers at the GPIF to be profit-oriented and also ESG-oriented simultaneously. Treating the managers well will encourage greater performance and a strong company culture. The GPIF could also hire future-oriented managers only going forward. This would encourage strong performance and ESG investment simultaneously. A more ambitious course of action for the GPIF would be to have managers only invest in highly ESG ranked companies and funds. Only investing in high ESG score companies means that short-term profit possibilities may be more limited. This could hurt GPIF in the short term. If the ESG model truly does create a better future, then this will pay off. Obviously, supporting social equality, a healthy environment, and strong governance is a responsible way to conduct a business, but is it always the most profitable? Hopefully in the long run it will pay off because it is most definitely more sustainable. This would also encourage other companies to improve their ESG. This would lead to all companies competing on being most sustainable and not just most profitable. If things remain the same, the GPIF will be hurting themselves in the long run. As a pension plan, it is important for them to be future oriented. Failing to invest purely in high performing ESG ranked companies and funds would be a shame. Investing in non ESG companies could be harming the environment that will lead to future economic troubles for all. Companies that do not value social change are failing to utilize all of what society has to offer. Poorly governed companies and industries are likely not future oriented and are instead purely profit oriented. For a long term investment, it is best for a pension fund to support companies that are acting responsibly and are supporting a healthy future. It is recommended that the GPIF takes a conservative course of action that encourages investing in profitable companies and highly ranked ESG companies simultaneously. Putting too much emphasis on investing only in highly ESG ranked companies means that current returns on investments are limited and the bulk of the benefit will come later on, since ESG is future growth oriented. This is a problem because Japan has an aging population. This means that more people will need their pensions now or in the near future than they will in the distant future. In order to meet the needs of Japan's aging citizens right now and in the near future, it is important to not overemphasize investment in ESG ranked companies. Only moderate weight should be placed on ESG companies for now due to the limited investing options that currently stand. For now, returns should be maximized for the aging population while simultaneously moderately investing in the long-term reward of ESG companies.